Are you a perfectionist or something else? Are you someone who won't move until you have a full picture? Or until you have a certain level of skills or confidence? Do you say, I will start tomorrow? I don't have everything I need to get started. I just need to get organized first. I am not in a good mood to start now. I must do this the right way. There must be no mistake, else I'm not gonna do it. Or I must be seen as perfect, not showing any of my flaws at all. Well, I'll try to help you by telling you that you're not a perfectionist. You could very well be a procrastinator disguised as a perfectionist, simply because whatever excuse you came up with is a flaw proven by your inaction. So how are you perfect? Perfectionists are insufferable at imperfections. So why do you think he or she will not take any actions? And to me, procrastination is just an excuse to something that you don't find important enough to do. When you find something that really matters to you, you won't have any more excuse. And you'll do it like someone is pointing a gun to your head. But if you still think you're a perfectionist, let's compare you to another perfectionist. Let's Google famous perfectionists together. And I'm sure one name will pop up of your screen. Steve Jobs. Now, do you think that he ever said those sentences that we mentioned? Highly unlikely. Now, imagining you are working for a perfectionist boss like him, you think he will let you don't do anything because you're still processing? You have multiple versions ready, working corrections overnight and always ready to do a redo and even more. Or if your boss gets a new idea, how much time do you think you have to show the new prototype or proposal? Wait till he has a clearer idea? Then again, some people would say that Steve Jobs is not a perfectionist. He's just a very demanding boss. But whatever label people gave us or what we gave ourselves are not important. Someone could give away their entire fortune and people will still say that he got rich exploiting others. Someone who worked hard all his life being proud of himself can still be labelled by others as a waste of life because they miss out on a lot of things just to bring food to the table. Now, let's go a bit deeper into some of the labels that we have. The number one label is nothing we do is good enough. There is always more. I'm very guilty of this, and the problem lies in the good enough. For what and for who? If we can compare to others, I would say that what we did are pretty much better than most of the people around us. But it wasn't enough for us, ourselves. My solution to this is to give them what they want, but show them it could be better. Whether they follow it or not is up to them. And keep on working on ourselves if time permits. That's how I label myself as a practical perfectionist. There's one Korean variety show that I like a lot, known as Life Perfectionists. It goes to show that how we can excel in daily, ordinary work that we are doing. But to be able to do things at that level, it always starts with a willing heart. And usually how much we are paid does not relate to how good we are. It is usually more to how we present our performance that affects our pay. So sidetrack a bit here on a very different concept that I came to realize. While presenting pays more than performance, pretending pays even more than presenting, unless pretending gets caught. These days we have a lot of fake gurus while my fellow perfectionists are still hidden away from the world, mastering their craft. For example, in web designs and sales funnel buildings, I've seen people charge for almost $10,000 for what I think is at best a few hundreds. While I had no problem with people selling stuff for thousands of dollars, and I also paid thousands, the value delivered need to match the price. But there is another YouTube video on my marketing channel on another day. Next label, we are so demanding of ourselves and others. Yes, it can be tiring working with us or for us. Just look at the interviews on YouTube of Apple employees that have worked with Steve Jobs. But then again, what have they gained? And what they have brought to the world? And of course, there will be more people that we simply don't click, and we are not afraid to show it. At this point, some people might say that I believe my way is the best way, and I agree. Why? Because it also applies to you. To me, best is always subjective. What is best for me may not be the best for you. Likewise, what is best for you may not be the best for me. That's how life works. And while we may appear not to be too friendly, or maybe it's just me, who take my limited time on earth very seriously, we are always open-minded and objective to improvements. So if you dare, help us to see things otherwise, as I'm always looking forward to the next intellectual fight to improve myself. But one very important thing is that you attack the subject, not the person. If you are still here, I'd like to ask you, what is perfect? From Oxford's dictionary, having all the required or desirable elements, qualities, or characteristics as good as it is possible to be, or completely free from faults or defects. Now, if a student scores 100 points out of 100 in a test, isn't that perfect? Can you score 101? Obviously not. Here's what Da Vinci says, using a poet as a metaphor. A poet knows that he has achieved perfection, not when there is nothing left to add, but when there is nothing left to take away. So, in his own words, you can always add more. If you are an author, coach, entrepreneur, or marketer, when you have your first client, isn't that a perfect start? Or when a client went through your sales funnel and brought everything you had to offer, isn't that perfect? There's nothing more you can sell him. To me, perfection is an infinite game, and I borrow the infinite game theory from Mr. Simon Sinek. In similar fashion, you can even exchange the word perfection for infinite game. Check out his book, or if you don't know him, who is Simon Sinek, you should read his first book, Start With Why, especially if you are a fan of Steve Jobs. All the links below. Now, what is your favorite soccer team? Manchester United, Manchester City, Liverpool, Chelsea? Will you want the team to win every game, every season, even after the league was won? If your answer is yes, then my question to you is, why are you aiming for perfection? Are you a perfectionist too? So let's say they had a game without any error, trash the other team 5-0, isn't that a perfect game? So what is your definition for perfect? Comment below. You can't be a perfectionist if you don't understand what is perfect. With that said, a super organizer may not be a perfectionist too. It may be more of a controlling characters. Labels, labels, labels. Why waste time labeling when you know your stuff except for expiry? Right things in the right place versus chaos theory. The things are at where I want it to be or where I know it to be. When you're a perfectionist living a minimum live lifestyle, there's not much to organize. There's also a famous saying that is either helping perfectionists or against perfectionists, which is done beats perfect. Agree or disagree? Comment below. It's helping in the sense to remind us when to stop. But to a perfectionist, done was done long ago. We are already in the improving stage. Ask any athlete, why are they still practicing when they already done one round of practice? Done be perfect and see how they respond to you. There was this one time where I helped a colleague solve a Microsoft Excel problem in minutes where she struggled for hours. And then I start to explaining the more advanced stuff to her on what she can do. And from the look in her eyes was like, well, not everyone can and want to go where we want to go. I'm sure we also have our limits, especially physical ones. They become more as we grow older. If you had a perfectionist colleague, a real perfectionist that tells you I'm still working on it, try asking him, can you show me what you have done? Maybe we can discuss how I can help. Provided you are not going to knock off on time. We always do what needs to get done. While we are definitely not faster than a just doer, we are definitely better, and I don't even want to bore you with another story with my boss that he learned a lesson on haste don't make pace. Last label, fear of failure, or I must appear without flaws. Do we fear death? Most of us do. Especially when there are things that we want to accomplish, people that we want to be with. What does death has to do with failure? Death happens when your heart fails to pump. And we usually don't get to decide how and when we die. We can definitely decide how we live. So don't give yourself an excuse associating yourself as a perfectionist if you are not doing anything. You are not a perfectionist. A perfectionist is remembered for trying to be perfect. Not that he or she is perfect. No one is perfect. Because perfect is a very temporary state in the mind. Just like in the previous test paper. After the test, there are more tests. And we have to show our imperfection or flaws on our way towards perfection. With that, see you in the next video. Bye.